Hello everyone, my name is Holly, and today we're diving deep into the beautiful, chaotic journey of how your reading taste changes over time. Maybe yours is totally linear. Maybe you've always been open to all genres, mood reading, but on a smaller scale. Or maybe you're where I'm currently at right now, going from enchanted swords to haunted arcade games. Speaking of, is Gren by D.W. Gillespie on your TBR by chance? It comes out in August, and I highly recommend it. It's about a boy who must save himself and his uncle from a possessed arcade game. Had to throw that one in there. And it all starts innocent enough. You're reading fantasy, there's dragons, chosen ones, noble quest. Of course, there's always like a talking tree that's wise and like weirdly sassy. Life is good. And it's been like that for years and years and years. You're escaping reality with elves and prophecies, and nobody has to pay bills. Bliss. And then one day, a fantasy book throws in a creepy forest, like Gods of the Weirdwood, or even The Tainted Cup, which is part thriller. And you're like, okay, spooky vibes, this is awesome. And next thing you know, the forest is alive and whispering your worst fears, and you're thinking, wait, am I enjoying this terror? And then boom, gateway horror. And now you're seeking that thrill. You dip into horror just a toe. There's haunted houses, possessed dolls, a town where no one ever leaves, murderous plants. For example, another recent read of mine, Eat the Ones You Love, which is a really bizarre, slow burn horror story about a girl who gets a job at her local flower shop, and there's a weird plant that is possessive and very hungry. If botanical horror is your thing. Oh, and also it takes place in Ireland, which is really cool. Then you should try this one out. Another gateway horror if you are into botanical, spooky things. It's kind of like if you played or watched The Last of Us, and you suddenly want fungus horror, and you start seeking that out. So like I said, you start seeking that thrill, and then you start asking questions like, what if the haunted house is actually on another planet? What if the possessed doll is an alien parasite? And just like that, you've spiraled into horror sci-fi. There are monsters in space now. The spaceship AI wants to kill you. Time loops are your new nightmare. They always have been for me, to be honest. I actually don't care for time travel-y time loop plot lines. I don't want to relive the same Monday 14 times. And then you get deep into horror middle grade territory. Hi, that's me. YA horror, or well, YA anything always invokes a romance, and then the romance controls the plot and every decision the main character makes, and I'm not here for that, okay? Like, I'm trying to survive this demonic forest, and you're worried about a love triangle. Like, ma'am, we're being hunted. Middle grade horror, though, different breed. These books deliver the spook, the weird creatures, and just enough existential dread, but still end in time for a snack break. They're never too long. They're never like 500 pages. I have a little bit of an example of this, and that is The Swarm by Andy Marino. If bug horror is your thing, like if you want to read a story about swarms of cicadas killing people, check this one out, but in my opinion, way too long. It did not need to be over 500 pages. Middle grade horror, they can involve haunted amusement parks, a summer camp where the counselors are definitely not alive, or Bigfoot is the enemy, like it came from the trees. So freaking good. This was lovely. As someone who worked at a campground for 10 plus years and imagined seeing Bigfoot in the backwoods while I delivered firewood, bliss. I imagined myself offering him s'mores, but it's still cozy because it's middle grade and it's funny, like spooky with a bedtime. You are not here to be traumatized. You're here to be lightly unsettled while still rooting for a 12-year-old who will solve the mystery using friendship, snacks, and their pet dog Rufus. And that has been me for the past few months. I'll sneak in a big fantasy release here and there because old habits die hard, but lately it's been horror, sci-fi, and middle grade, and I'm living my best life. So I've come to realize that reading taste are like your fashion sense. One day you're obsessed with magical kingdoms, the next you're deep diving into post-apocalyptic dystopias with like morally great characters who haven't smiled since chapter 1. I mean, who would when you're amidst like a zombie apocalypse? Sometimes your brain just wants a certain mood, like a cozy murder mystery with a cat on the cover. By the way, I made a whole video on that, books with cats as a big part of the story. I'll link that one down below. And other times your brain craves deep-rooted complex plot, like a 700-page novel following following retired adventurers on one final mission, a trope I personally love and I will always read those. Life changes you. You grow, your brain rewires, your soul breaks a little. I highly recommend not watching the news. And suddenly the genre that once brought you so much joy and you were so dedicated to read isn't your first option as much anymore. Your fingers are grabbing something else until that changes and you go back to reading like grimdark high fantasy again. So like my current read, I'm deep in a thriller. I never fancied myself a thriller without like a paranormal, supernatural element, but here I am totally into a story about a very stabby wife whose husband is the detective, and I'm cheering her on like it's the Olympics. It's My Wife the Serial Killer, by the way. Releases in June. Hi everyone, it's me. I'm upstairs to show you my super uber duper secret stash. What does that mean? Let me show you. I basically came up here to show you what can happen when publishers are like, hey, I think we can change her. I think we can get her to change sides. And this goes to show it can happen to anyone. Buddy, oh my goodness. Am I gonna have to hold you the whole time? I can do that, can't I? You could be a super dedicated romance reader, happily living in your pastel colored world, and then suddenly you try a high fantasy with a dramatic cover, a badass knight like holding a sword, and now you're knee deep into reading 14 different character perspectives and having to learn a whole ass glossary of names. So this is my backup romance. That's not it, trust me. I have these two. Are they all upside down? No. You can read those, I think. Look how colorful that is. It's kind of cute. Okay, actually, I want to see them all together. Like I said, backup romance stack. Never say never, because I did read a romance novel a couple months ago that I never mentioned. It was called Late Bloomers. I did unhaul it because it's not a book that I want to reread, but I liked it. It surprised me. I would probably give it like a 2.75, 3 out of 5 stars, and that is really high for me to write a romance novel. So hey, again, backup. It can happen to any one of us. So yeah, reading taste, total shapeshifters. If you've gone through a wild genre glow up, or if you're currently stuck between like space horror nightmare and talking cat detective, I don't know, drop your weirdest reading phase in the comments. I want to know that I'm not the only one who's emotionally unwell in 12 genres at once. But that's the magic of it all. Oh, by the way, since you've been staring at me for the past, like, I don't know, 10 minutes, you like my shirt? Maybe you didn't notice, but my shirt says, read books, pet cats. You better like it, because this is actually from one of you guys who designs t-shirts and got in touch with me. Amy, if you're watching this, she sent me 2 bookish themed shirts from her shop. Of course, I had to choose the cat related one. They are unisex shirts, and I am wearing a small, if that helps you for reference. And the second one that I chose just says bookish vibe, which is what her shop name is called. Go check out their work if you haven't already. I'll drop all their info down below. And again, thank you, Amy. These absolutely made my day. They are so comfy, and I just can't get over this really cute design. I've already gotten compliments from wearing it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to finish this middle grade horror that I'm in the middle of about creepy antique dolls that come alive. This one. Don't ask, just add it to your TBR. It comes out in September. So until we meet again, happy reading.